Hello, my name is Ahtisham Jan, and you are watching my YouTube channel. In this very short series of 10 lectures, we will going to discuss 10 major common misunderstandings in the discipline of international relations. And these are very relevant, particularly when it comes to countries like Pakistan or any third world country, where students, when they are studying international relations, they view it quite differently. In the very first lecture today, we will discuss the common misunderstandings as far as the nature of discipline is concerned. In our subsequent lectures, we will also discuss about the common misunderstandings related to theories, methodologies, concepts. So it will going to help you in preparation of international relations as an academic discipline. So without wasting time, let us start. As far as discipline is concerned, today's lecture will be on the common misunderstandings within the discipline. So we're going to discuss some important common misunderstandings within the discipline. The first one, we see international relations as something that it is international politics. That's a very common misunderstanding in international relations as an academic discipline. Now make sure that international politics is merely one aspect of, it's just an aspect of international relations, just one aspect. There are numerous other aspects, like you can say the international economy, mm, you can say world sociology, you can say international cultural studies, and name it, a number of others. International relations, the beauty of the discipline is that international relations evolved by incorporating all of these different aspects, and simultaneously it has preserved its own unique identity. So do not mix international relations with international politics, or do not uh, uh, lead yourself to the conclusion that international politics is something that is quite bigger and vast phenomena than international relations. International politics is one aspect of international relations as an academic study. So be very much clear about it. Second important context, although it's not quite commonly used by international writers, but still, a few have written about it, like Chris Brown in Understanding International Relations and a number of others. International relations with a capital R, with a capital I, and international relations with a small r, with a small I. Yes, there is a difference between two. When we say international relations with a capital I and capital R, so basically we are referring to an academic discipline. However, when we use the word international relations, or in the start of a paragraph, you would come across the word international, but relations are small relations. So then you are focusing on what is happening across the globe. Now, there is no hard and fast rule pertaining to uh, referring to international relations as an academic discipline, or international relations as the happenings across the globe, the more you will gonna read within the discipline, the momentum that reading would carry would automatically lead you towards this conclusion that in this particular paragraph, author is referring to international relations as a discipline, or in this particular paragraph, author is referring to happenings across the globe as small IR. So there is a segregation, there is a difference, but there are no hard and fast rules that how you would determine that what really author is referring to. The more you would read within the discipline, you would automatically, uh, the flow of your reading would automatically mention it for you that what author really intends to say. So this is the second thing. Number three, it's again a very common misunderstanding, and uh, teachers and even students they believe that uh, few components of this discipline, they are current affairs. Say international relations is current affairs. Now, be very much sure that when we are referring to capital IR, it means we are referring to, or we are saying about international relations as an academic discipline. So, nevertheless, international relations is current affairs. It's a very common misunderstanding. What is happening across the globe? Happenings. These happenings are, for you, they may be good. For you, they may be bad. What is happening across the globe, merely the study of these happenings isn't international relations. Never. It is more than, just the study of happenings. It's how you understand those happenings. That's important. And of course, when you would understand, you would definitely use certain theories, concepts. So do not mix international relations or current affairs. For instance, if there would be a question on causes of World War One, let us assume. So that may be a historical study providing reasons, or you are studying about causes of Yemen crisis. That may be a contemporary study, or it is a contemporary study. You would also come up with reasons. These reasons would be definitely some facts, some arguments, some facts, some arguments, but this is not international relations. This is not the study within the discipline of international relations. Well, when we study causes of World War One or causes of Yemen crisis within the domain of international relations, you would use certain perspectives. Realist perspective, like say, how would realist perspective, the global, regional, individual. Few authors have also uh, used the jargons like systemic, domestic, individual. You would come up with the perspective and the level of analysis. And within this domain, you would study. This study is international relations. So be very much clear that international relations is not merely a study of current affairs. It's a common misunderstanding as well. Then another most important aspect, that theory. Why we study theory in international relations? Theory is just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Why we study theory? And for beginners, for new students, sometimes it becomes quite tough, difficult to study the philosophies, the contexts behind a theory. It becomes very difficult, very tough. But make sure that it's an academic discipline. The practices which have been happening across the globe, you cannot understand. One cannot understand all those practices across the globe. One cannot understand without the epistemological, ontological, and most importantly, the methodological context. Cannot understand. Of course, these definitely will be your claims. These are not, you can say, 100% uh, truth or reality. These epistemologies, these ontologies, these are your claims. And how you developed these claims, that's methodology. So you need to understand this thing, that international relations as an academic discipline cannot exist without theorization. Never. If you are a beginner, or if international relations is imposed on you in any examination, entrance examination, or in any competitive examinations. So if you are thinking that, okay, I will gonna skip theory part, I will focus on international history, I'll focus on concepts, I will focus on foreign policies, some contemporary issues, organizations. Okay, that's it. I cannot understand theory. It's very philosophical. Its context is difficult for me to understand. And if you believe that ignoring the theory part and you would be at home in the discipline of international relations, that's going to be a fool's hope. Do not skip theory. Theory in international relations is like a spirit in the body of this discipline. So theory isn't a waste of time. Without theory, you are not going to get a good grip on international relations. And the last thing for today's lecture, and then of course we will come up with 9 other lectures about different other common misunderstandings in the international relations discipline. This misunderstanding is it's very important to understand it. International relations definition. How to define things? Well, we have different disciplines, different subjects where definitions In most of the cases, they are fixed, permanent, and we apply the same context in international relations that there must be some clear definition of international relations. The case is not so. There is no clear definition of international relations. International relations evolved and it's still evolving. So, if you are referring to any source of 1920s or 1930s, 40s, up to some extent in 50s, you would come across such a definition of international relations largely focusing on state interactions. So you would assume that international relations is all about the interactions between or among states. But with the advent of scientific revolution and the experimentations under the behavioral approach, you would come across multi-dimensional definitions in 60s, 70s, in which you would come across the mm, element of non-state actors as well, that they are also playing an important role. You would come across with the ideas like complex interdependence, interplay of all actors, not necessarily state, but they be transnational, transgovernmental level actors. So if you would stuck yourself to the definitions of 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, that would be difficult for you because there are no clear-cut definitions for international relations. Let me give you another example. The famous author of Clash of Civilizations, Samuel P. Huntington. Now, Huntington says that international relations is all about study of clash and cooperation between, among, you can say, civilizations. Now, his unit to understand international relations is civilization. And if you come across definitions by Joseph Nye or Robert Cohen, so you would come across that they are providing you definition within the context of this idea of complex interdependence. If you would read articles or readings of uh, Kenneth Waltz, so Kenneth Waltz would be referring towards competitions. It's all about the competitions, international relations. So different scholars have come up with different definitions because they don't belong to a single era. The definitions of this era versus this era, and even under the post positivist context. Feminists would come up with a different definition of international relations. Green theory would come up with a different definition of international relations. So, this discipline has no fixed definition. It evolved and it's still evolving. So these are the common misunderstandings related to the discipline. In the forthcoming lectures, we will also discuss about the misunderstandings relating to different theories, different concepts, and then most importantly, in last, the positivist and the post-positivist context. So I'm hopeful that these 10 lectures would definitely help all the interested one, particularly the students who are studying international relations at different levels, either at the graduate level or the competitive level examinations whatsoever. My name is Ahtisham Jan, and do not forget to subscribe my channel and like the video and do share it as well. Thank you very much. All the best.